It is my singular honor to invite our minister, is our minister in house in the Life Center Parish, Dr. Emmanuel AlHassan. He's, a, he's an associate professor of psychology, and so he's here with his team members, so I know he will introduce them. The focus of this interaction is, when we did depression, we didn't know we're going to get so much feedback. So the purpose of this is to strengthen us so that we are not prone to going down. So with Jesus' joy, can we invite Dr. AlHassan?
Okay, okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. See this young man like me. Am I not young?
Yes, Daddy. Yes, Daddy.
So, so a warm welcome. Good afternoon. We have limited time. What we will try to do this afternoon is to spend. Sorry, I'm going to reduce the presenter's time to 12:12, please, if you can. You go. Okay, 14 minutes. It's okay. Please let me. I have a team of three. The third person is on the way. She will play a greater role when we're having the interactive session. We have two segments. The first segment, which I want us to wrap up at 10, at 5 minutes past 3, if possible. Yes, Molabo, I'm sorry. Because we want to focus more on discussions and interactions. So please, Molabo, kindly quickly introduce yourself.
So I'm my shy.
No, go ahead because it's being streamed. Quickly.
Okay. I'm Molabo. I'm a clinical psychologist.
Molabo
In a
who?
nutshell. Molabo Retadin. Happy Molabo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gabriel. I work in research and communications. Yeah.
Thank you. Please put your hands together. And Kempia Best is on her way. What we are going to do is I'll just speak for like 1 minute. One of the things I want to say is life is easier than we take it. I just got off a class before coming here with postgraduate students. And one of the things we talked about was motivation, perception, and emotion. And perception sometimes is stronger than reality. The challenge is, what do you see? How do you perceive yourself? How do you see yourself in relationship with the environment, with other people? How do you define yourself? Is it money that defines you? Is it the latest Nike that defines you? Is it the latest wristwatch? What defines you? So we can actually spend the whole day discussing some of these issues, but we have limited time. And so we will try as much as possible to run through. Molabo is going to talk about mental health and point at some key things that we need to know. And then Gabriel, I invited because, again, he's within your demographic, same age. Have you rounded up your youth service yet? He has not finished his youth service. He's going to tell you a little bit about his story. So you don't think that you are alone, and you don't think so. It depends on exactly what you want to do with your life. It depends on exactly how you perceive things. It depends on what you are pursuing. Okay? In psychology, there's what we call delayed gratification. And that delay is really not a delay. It's just that you are prioritizing. There are different stages in life, and you need to enjoy the journey of whatever stage that you are in. And what is your definition of enjoyment? I have enjoyed more than my peers all my life, even when I could afford only one pair of canvas shoes at Unijos and just one other pair of shoes. And I could afford just two shirts. That's the truth. Because my father died when I was 10. Nobody's paid my school fees from Form 2 to Form 5. Nobody. No, till I finished my PhD. Nobody. So I was in Unijos based on his letter of scholarship. Okay? So that's a different story. I never one day, I did not feel inferior to anybody at all. I was cool with myself. In those days, there were certain groups in school that if you didn't belong, then you were not in the happening. We used to call them the happening guys. The same, different names these days. There were two calls in Unijos those days. Yes. And I remember in my 300 level, one student walking into Naragota, we used to call it the social services center, where you go the day you want to take a girl out, you save up your money and you take them there. And so I overheard this guy at the far corner. There was this group of guys, they used to play cricket and they formed their own clique. And they were children of, permanent secretaries, those days. They were children of middle, high class. And before they agree for you to come and play cricket with them, they will check you out. I didn't belong to that. There was a particular club that was very elitist. I didn't belong to it because I did not need to be with them to be relevant. But trust me, sir, ma, I was relevant. I was in the Fellowship of Christian Students. I learned how to play the guitar. I entered Unijos at 15, learned how to play the guitar at 16. And I also used to play during certain school shows. It's just that I didn't play raw music. I didn't do that. And so there was this guy at this corner saying, this guy all these years, come, they were whispering and I overheard. Come, which club does he, I've never seen him. What makes him tick? They didn't know. I had self-confidence. I had faith in God. I had faith in myself. I loved myself. I was very happy with the few shirts that I had, and luckily one girl advised me, say, oh, you have a nice shape. You know what? When next you get your bursary, your little bursary, go to Amodu Bello Way. There's a shop where they sell t-shirts for very cheap. The day I got the money, I went to Amodu Bello Way and I bought 4 t-shirts and I was interchanging those t-shirts with my one pair of jeans. And any day we had a serious meeting, I had my one shirt and my one pair of trousers, and it didn't even occur to me that I was missing anything. Okay? So, my locus of control was not external, it was internal. I wasn't looking for validation from other people. Okay? So these are some of the few guiding principles that helped me to navigate. And some of these things I didn't even realize until I got deeper into psychology and then began to learn about self-esteem, about how you shouldn't allow external things to define you, about how you shouldn't allow circumstances to be the determining factor of your tomorrow, about how you should understand that following fashion and trend is the wrongest way to go. You should be the trend yourself. In 300 level, Anayo, one very popular guy on campus in I remember this very clearly, in theater arts department, meets me up on the campus one day and says, AlHassan, everybody used to call me by my surname, not my first name. Apparently, I made a mistake. My pair of jeans not a mistake. I had worn this pair of jeans. It was faded, naturally faded, as in faded. So Anayo comes and says he's been looking for this new style. He's gone around the entire Jaws. He hadn't seen it. I had a good laugh. When I used jig bleach to put bleach to fade his jeans, it became a trend in Unijos between my 300 level and 400 level. I'm telling you things that happened. I was extremely young, okay? But God really helped and guided me. Okay, so let me leave it here. Just know that trends won't help you. You can be the trend. As once you are confident and comfortable in what God has given to you, you will now focus on what do I need to do to be at the next level, and then the next level, because life is a continuous journey. And people pursue money, but there are certain things that you will pursue, and money will begin to pursue you. The guys and girls who are busy pursuing girls today, by the time they get to 35, 40, right? And see their mates that they used to look down on, being pursued by the girls they are busy pursuing now. I tell my children, look, we provide for you, but you must know, compartmentalize, know when to study, know when to play your games, know the kind of friends you keep. You must have a balance, because some of the things that interest you now, time will come. If you focus on what you need to do now, you will make this money. You will have, I showed them, those days that all these video things used to rain. I showed them boxes of tapes. I say, and so I also tell them, look, I can afford to pay for whatever bouquet of DSTV, but ask how many times do you have time to sit and watch? Because I've watched films in my life when I started making money small, at 25, 26. I have watched every film. See, so if it's an action film you are showing me now, there's something similar. By the time I watch 30 minutes, look, I get bored. There's time for everything. There's time to focus on this and not focus on what people think about you, on how your hair is, on the number of likes or dislikes and all of that. It's absolute nonsense, because you will very soon, if you do the right things, very soon, people will start pursuing you. You'll be the one. I am not on Instagram. I don't have the time. The WhatsApp that I'm on is more than enough trouble. I am telling you. I'm telling you. Because if you pursue and another day we can have a different conversation about what are those things you need to pursue, okay? That will make you relevant and continue to be relevant in your life. And then you also project. You ask yourself, I'm 20 now. When I'm 25, where would I like to be? What do I need to do now to be there? What will I do so that when I can afford the car by 35? Those are the kind of questions. What you need to do. What skills do I need to learn? Not to be pursuing money for the car now. No. Because now everybody knows if you are trekking like I used to trek, it is all right. If you are in one room like I used to be in one room, even after 2 master's degrees, after 3 degrees, BSc, MSc, MBA, I was staying in my boss's boys' quarter for years. Look, I didn't give a damn. I was saving money. I bought my fridge while there. I bought my settees while there. I bought everything. The day I could afford to move into a 2-bedroom, I paid for 2 years and moved those things there. I wasn't spending my money jollificating because I wanted to belong. No. Okay, so let me stop here. Molabo, I'm so sorry, I've taken quite a bit of your time. Kindly switch off the lights, and then she will run through her slides. He will run through his slides, and then we'll go and have a conversation. Okay? Thank you.
I'm happy, Malaba, like I told you earlier. So let's just get to it, yeah? When we were kids, we all thought that when we become adults, that adulthood is about, chilling, lots of money, sleeping and waking up when you like, giving orders to everybody, more money, just being, and of course, eating junk as you like. But that wasn't the case. In fact, people on Twitter and some other social media tell us adulthood is a scam. As we got closer, we found out that adulthood was about responsibility. And adulthood is not a scam, but that's another conversation. So we were like, I can't wait to grow up. And now that we are grown up, it's like, wake up, shower, head to work if you have breakfast. Work all day, traffic, back home, sleep, wake up the next day, rinse. So that's not what life should be. And sometimes when we think we've mastered this adulthood thing, life will just throw us a curveball. And even then, we're not sure of the adult way to respond to the challenges that come. All the ways that we try to cope with the issues that come our way can be referred to as coping styles. And there are so many of them. But leaving all of that aside, some of them are positive, that's they help us, and some of them are negative. And all of them are, they make up, they infect, they have effects on our mental health. So what do we do when we feel disappointed, stressed, overwhelmed, exhausted, and all the other ways we feel? What are the things we can do to look after our mental health? My name is Malabo, like I told you, and I'd like to tell us a little about self-awareness. This is a summary of my qualifications and why I should be able to talk about this. Our mental health is, normally I was supposed to ask us what we know about mental health, but let me go ahead and tell us that our mental health is a combination of, is a product of our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions. All of them work together to produce everything we know about mental health. Everything. We talked about, Dr. AlHassan talked about perception. He talked about self-esteem. All of that is a combination of the way we think, what we're thinking, how we're thinking it, the way we feel, and the things that are making us feel that way, and the way we express all of those. But you know what? We don't see the thoughts and the emotions. All we see is action. So for the purpose of this conversation, I'd like you, and even going forward, I'd like you to think about your mental health as just behavior. Because all we see is behavior. WHO tells us that mental health is a state of well-being in which an individual is capable of four things. One, they are aware of their potential. Two, they are able to cope with the normal stresses of life. And bear in mind, please, that this is subjective. That your normal stresses in your own life are different from normal stresses in someone else's life. Yeah? And then you can work productively and fruitfully. So anything that interferes with your capacity to work productively or fruitfully is messing with your mental health. Same way, anything that is affecting your capacity to understand your potential is messing with your mental health. Also, you must be able to make contribution to your community. And this is not just the neighborhood you live in, but generally the people around you. Benefits of self-awareness. Oh, okay, just a moment. So of these four things that WHO has told us makes a person who is really mentally well, we can describe, if we're going to summarize our awareness, our being aware of our potential, it's self-awareness. Of the others, resilience and the rest. I'll talk to us about self-awareness. Self-awareness is a capacity to understand yourself, understand why you are doing what you are doing, to a point where you can now manage yourself. When you are aware of your potential, your self-esteem definitely thrives because you know your capacity. You know, when you know your capacity, you know how to develop yourself to become the person you want to be. And I'd like to share a few exercises for building our self-awareness with us. First of all, thank you. First of all, please bring out your phones. Open a tab on your browser and type in www.digit1 digit 6 16 16 personalities. Personalities is spelled PERSONalities.com. I'll take it again. www.16PERSONalities.com. That's .com, just in case. So that's 16personalities.com. After you've opened it, please close your browser and you do the test later in the evening. Take your personality test. When you get the results, read the results. If it describes you to a great extent, to 80%, then we can agree that, okay, that's your personality. Then start reading about that personality. Start watching videos about it. There are so many briefs on YouTube these days. Start watching videos about it. Like, start understanding the things that are making you tick. Now, if it does not describe you greatly, then leave the test alone. Go away, and next weekend, no. When you leave the test, set a reminder to take the test again next weekend. So next weekend, go and take the test again and make sure you are relaxed. Now, remember, when you're answering those questions, you're not answering it as you hope to be. You're answering it the way you are now. So that's one. When you understand your personality, it explains to you why you act the way you do and helps you begin to catch yourself when you are doing things that you'd rather not do. So that's for the personality test. Understand your personality. That's one tip for self-awareness. Another tip for self-awareness is to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is the capacity to bring all of your attention to bear in the present moment.
There you go.
Thank you,
So
sir.
you can actually go, yeah, really to the side.
Okay.
You have
Okay.
3 minutes.
3 minutes left. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay. So mindfulness is the capacity to bring all of your attention to bear in the present moment. You see, when your attention wanders to the future, we often become anxious. When your attention wanders to the past, we're often scolding ourselves for something because it wanders. But when you, on your own, take charge of your attention, thank you. When you take charge of your attention and you bring it into the present moment, you can do everything you do with such presence that you enjoy what you're doing. And when it is even something that you do not enjoy doing but you have to do, you find that you spend less time doing it. So it does not become tedious. Sometimes we dread doing something so much that we spend more energy dreading it than doing it. But mindfulness helps us bring our attention to bear. For you to learn to practice mindfulness, you have to learn to breathe deeply. So I'm going to, one, recommend an app that will help you, and then two, teach you to breathe deeply, because that's the basis for mental health. Then for mindfulness, then I will stop there and would continue when we do. So sit restfully in your chair, please. Relax. Make sure your feet, except him, of course, make sure your feet are touching the ground. Both your feet. Place your hand on your upper stomach. You should feel your stomach moving up and down as you breathe. So let's do practice. Try out. Take a deep breath in and then out. Again in and then out. Good. What direction is your stomach moving in when you breathe in? Up. If your stomach is moving down, that's not a problem, but it needs to move up. So here's what we do. Think of your stomach as a balloon. As you breathe in, you are inflating the balloon. You are blowing the bloom. So your stomach will come up as you breathe in. When you have taken in as much air as you can, then you hold your breath. 4. To the count of 4 is enough. And then, sorry, sir. So let's hold your breath. Sorry, sir. And then you exhale. And there's a trick to this exhaling. When you are exhaling, you push all the air out. In fact, you can get dramatic, like. So let's do it again. Take a deep breath in, in, hold it. All at once, breathe out. Again, take a deep breath in, in, hold it, and all at once, breathe out. Thank you very much. Let's leave it there for now.
Like now, I've written some applications, and you are hearing something like, sorry, we'll get back to you, or how do you still continue blending with life? How do you stay in that your space that you are? Because you said something about delay gratification. How do you enjoy the space at that particular time? Because as a youth, as you trying to look at, like, he also said something about when you look at some people of advantage, but there are some other advantage that you have over some
You have
persons.
30 seconds more.
So how do you just try and make this thing work while you are
My
waiting?
name is Grace Udo, and I have two questions because I have to crash with the questions into my slot. Thank you so much. Thank you so much because you talked about mindfulness, and it helped me to reflect on my own self that, well, I tend to dwell in the future a lot and in the past and here. And then I even get so annoyed with the process because I already see the future. But I also realized that it's also important to aspire and then backtrack to know where you. So I want, how much time can we allocate for being in the present and being in the past and in the future? That's the first question. Then the second one is to you, sir. Thank you. So your portfolio, my God. Well, and you're incredibly young, so that's lovely. Um, how can how can you overcome your fears? Because you said you have to overcome your fears, but how can you really overcome your fears? I know that that's a very generic question, but it's very key to me.
Okay,
Thank
very.
you.
Thank you very much for your questions. Thank you for the compliments too. Okay, so about making a plan. So it's very important that as Christians.
Yes. So, yeah.
So as Christians, right, the world may have hope, but what we have is actually sure hope. We are different from the world. That's actually what I like to tell people most of the time. You are actually very, very different. Our self worth is not connected to our job. It's actually from Christ. If we have that background understanding every time you apply for something, it will change your life. When you get rejection, I'm rejected. And then another thing is putting things into the right perspective. Now, for example, let's say you apply for something and then you don't get it. That doesn't make you a failure. You only a failure in one single application. That doesn't mean you've not gotten things in the past. That doesn't mean you passed your jam yourself. You've passed the exam. You've graduated. There are things that God has done for you that you can be grateful for. You understand? So the problem we have most of the time is the fact that we don't put things into perspective. We overthink some things. There are a lot of things God has done for you. You're waking up, you're eating. You understand? So there are lots of great things to be actually be grateful for. So making a plan. Okay, so let's say you scholarship now. Have a option plan A, plan B, plan C. For example, the school I'm actually doing my master's now is actually my option C, not even my option A and B. I didn't get my A and B, and I'm my C, which is not a bad option. So it's not the fact that don't make a plan, and the fact that the first and second did not work does not mean anything. And even if I'm not doing master's, that doesn't mean anything. I mean, it's just for me to get the job and be it. As long as I'm eating and I'm okay, or even if I don't have anything, I go to my prayer. And you know what I've learned something from? I learned a lot from Andrew Womack. And one thing is this: he said there was a time that somebody said I will not give you opportunity. He said he looked at the person and said, people have denied me great opportunities in the past, and I'm still alive. You understand? And look at the person and say, and today is Andrew Mark is all over TV stations and the like. So there's much to us than what we get and what we do not get as Christians. That is the big background of everything. I think that helps a lot. So what we have is sure hope, not just hope. And then ability to encourage yourself. I learned that from David in the Bible. But there's a place in the Bible where the Bible said, and David encouraged himself in the Lord. Where there's nobody there, you should be able to sit down and say, okay, guy, I mean, I have God's love, and I believe we can actually, how grateful we're supposed to be as Christians. The fact that we have God on our side, things can be going wrong. We can trust God for protection. We can. Do you think the world the world doesn't have all that? There is a lot of franticness in the world, but we have a sure hope in Christ. So that's one alone is something to be grateful for. The fact that we can be sick and we can even trust God for health. A lot of people are not even saved to even be able to depend on God for salvation. Okay, so on the last question about overcoming fear, right? So understanding the fact that I think there's a place in the Bible where Jesus said, I think it was Romans or so. He said, but Jesus overcome death. Like he pulled them that have fear of death out. I can't remember how that was explained. There's a lot God has actually done for us to actually overcome fear. So you have to understand that you have faith, and that's actually the opposite of fear. The fact that you can actually, how will I explain it? There's a difference between disbelief and misbelief. You have to understand that what is actually chasing you, you are more than it. I don't know how to explain it. Whatever is actually making you to be fearful, whatever the fear may be, the fear of maybe not being successful, the fear of missing out, the fear that what if this thing does not work out? No, 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 no. That doesn't change anything from the fact that you have actually overcome. So don't always approach things from the place of I want to get it. You are actually, for example, you are saved. You are already, if you want to get health now, you believe that I already have health in Christ. So always come from that place of strength.
Thank you very much. Put your hands together.
I just
Very
want
quickly.
to add, yeah, I just want to add to the how to overcome your fear. I will just give a brief story about myself, my career. I was in BBC in 2016. I was working with BBC and Media Action. And my immediate boss, I was making clothes and then still doing media, right? So my immediate boss, one day I resumed work. I was so tired because through the night I was working on some clothes that a customer gave me, and then I came to work. I was early to work, not like I was late. And he came and he said, "Why are you looking so tired?" I said, I was working through the night." And he looked at me. He said, "I think it's better for you to just work on this fashion and forget about media." Okay, and he said it in a very sarcastic way. And that wasn't the first time he's saying that. He has said a lot of things to me that would make me want to give up the media work. And to myself, when I came in, I thought I was even better than him, okay, in the media work that I was doing. So I went back home. I was so demoralized. I called my mom and I said, "Can you imagine this? My boss again said this to me, because I keep reporting the things that happen to me at work." And she said, "Don't you think you're better in all of the things that you do? So you can focus on all and be the best that you can be," right? And listening to her say that, resonated a lot because you are made for more. There's so much that God has put. That's why the Bible says that you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. It means that there's no limitation to whatever you do. And what we do in our mentoring program is to let people know that you have so much potentials in you. There's no limit to what you can do. So you can be a farmer, and then you can be the best lawyer, and then it is all because nobody has a CV that says he does just one thing and he's doing it. You keep doing a lot of things and you're best at what you're doing. So if you take up that fear and limit yourself, then you won't succeed. But if you look at your fears and say to that fear as it comes to you that there's so many things that I can do and overcome you, then it means that you can achieve a lot of things and be that example that people want to see. Like you're setting a pace for other people who are coming after you, because we're all mentors sitting down here. There are people who look up to you and they know you can do even more.
Learn many things. I can drive. Trust me. If everything crashes in the next 3 months, I will make so much money from Uber, you wouldn't believe it. And I don't give a damn if you were the one that called me and I show up and you say, Oga, I'll say, relax. I'll take you. I can drive. I can teach. I can do presentations. Okay? And let me quickly link. So many things. After my youth service, I served in a bank. I went to Lagos from Port Harcourt. I was recommended. They didn't have vacancies. They were not taking anybody. So I go home for Christmas to my village. And then my cousin tells me, the community secondary school in the village is looking for teachers. And I'm like, oh, yeah, right. So I am the one to be a teacher. That was what I said in my mind. But before I could ask him, but why didn't you take the offer? He said, no, I already got an offer in another village. And I've already started. Okay, so it's not like he wanted a better job than myself. And one thing that he said, which I like, you see, there's this drink that says keep walking. Keep working. So he says, look, you can still be going to Port Harcourt and Lagos look for another job. So I took that community job. I was a teacher. I had 2 farms in the 1 year that I taught, and I sold 4 bags of maize. So not only was I a teacher, I was a farmer in the 1 year, and I had applied for my master's, and then I joined contribution. So I saved up money to contribute to go pay for my tuition in Jos for my master's. Okay, so I was a teacher, I was a counselor, I was a farmer. I had 2 experimental farms, and I started looking for land in case I didn't get the admission against the following year. And one of the big farmers whom I had gone to meet says, look, do you want to compete with us? The way you are going about this farming thing, what is it? But I was ready to make money from farming. Number 4, the principal of the next village, of about 2-3 villages from my village, actually my mother's village, learned that I could teach well. So he drives to my village and says, look, can you do part-time? Can you come Thursdays and Fridays to Ologba, government secondary school? So I started earning almost twice what my colleagues were earning. So I take all my course classes Monday to Wednesday, and Thursday afternoon, I'm at Ologba. I take the afternoon class. I take them on Fridays. On Saturday, I'm back to Yale, to my farm. And on Monday, I'm back in class. So please, 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 do look at so many things that you can do. Option 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No limit. When you are focused like that, you won't have time for gossip. You won't have time for frivolities. And when it starts yielding fruits, the guys who are flexing today will be the one asking, guy, how did you do it? Okay? Your fears, do it. That's another byline that I love. Nike, just do it. Maths was not my forte, but I found myself having to do statistics. And I'm like, and then I came for masters, and then there's advanced research methods. Oh my God. So I decided, even at that level now, at master's level, okay, this thing that wants to disgrace me, who are you? Now, I have made you a pro. I'm telling you, I sat down and I was talking to myself. I said, okay, I have made you my project. I got the second best result for my master's and for that particular course. I identified the best student in the class, and I will go to her every Saturday morning. I'll buy Coke and meat pie, and I'll go to where she was staying, her uncle's house at the boys' quarter. And that was how I learned. Do it. And that's why my PhD in psychometrics, nobody wants to do psychometrics because of what it is. So I decided I'm going to face that thing that most psychologists, that area that they don't want, that's what I'm going to face. And I hear that I ended up getting the first PhD in psychometrics from UI. Okay? So, no, it's not. So face your fear. Begin to do it. If it is swimming, you say, oh, this water that I'm afraid of, you start putting your leg. No, first is your, tomorrow is your, then after some time, that's how you do it. If you don't do it and you run away, the devil has succeeded. The people who say you won't progress, they have succeeded. Praise the Lord.
Reflecting and planning. Yeah. Back to mindfulness. When you want to reflect, you intentionally take your attention to the specific things you want to reflect on. And then when you want to plan, you bring all your attention to your planning. You are planning for the future. When you're looking at the future, you are planning. Then when you plan, you break your plan into the very next step. You break it to the smallest steps. So you take each step and then you record. As you make progress, you record and you see the progress you're making. And for the steps you're afraid of, act in spite of the fear. The smallest step is easier.
Is more of an observation and a question too. For me growing up, I
3
was a
seconds.
bit. Oh, no problem. From what I see now with the youth I'm seeing, I was a bit oblivious of my environment. When you talk about plan, the economy, the Nigeria that we're in, the educational system, and even the experiences that children get growing up, is highly disadvantaged here.
You call it
I tell- Yes, it's highly disadvantaged here because it's not properly channeled. You see people who are 22, 23, 24, they're thinking like 14, 15, 16-year-olds. Go abroad. You see professionals. When we start having people talk to us like this, like from age 16,
So what's your
15,
question
14,
so that we can move?
my question here is, how do we get to make this thing better? How do we
Good.
get to improve
Next
it?
question.
My question
And
is
make it
particularly for my brother here. The things you do are things that I have a flair for, but over time I felt like survival matters first. So I go for work, like I just want to work because I feel like going into most of those things will entail me leaving anything that will probably earn me money. So I have a family now. So the question is, do I go for those things that I really want to do, or I should still look for survival?
Okay.
Thank you.
My name is Israel Oguche. I'm born special. Okay, I didn't discover my myself when I was young until when I was going older and traveling places. And when I know who I am and what I carry, it brings a different change on me. I dress more than everybody, more than my boss, because I find confidence in my look. But recently, I discovered it has a side effect, and I don't know how to control my. I don't call it pride. I call it self-worth. How can I control this? Okay, and another. Sorry, it's two questions, sir. Another thing, I have a gift of God always bring people that have issues, especially mental issues, to me. But I don't know how to control my, like, I overdo it. Like I can arrest somebody just to make somebody happy. So how
I
do
want to
I
thank you
go
guys for
about it?
the talk about doing a lot of things. Nora, jokes on you. Thank you. Now, I am the kind of person that does a lot of things, and so many people have been telling me that you are doing too much. Now, how first of all, is it good that I'm doing a lot of things, like things way above way above what I'm supposed to be doing? Number one,
Who says it is way above
That's-
what you are supposed to be doing?
Nora.
No, no, hey, calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Go ahead.
Anyway, now the question is this. You understand? Now the question is this. Should I go ahead and do a lot of, sometimes it can be very, 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 very bothersome. It's very, very bothersome.
So,
Now,
where do you draw the line? How do you balance?
how do I balance? You know, that's number one. And then secondly, now, if I decide to pick one, how do I select the one to pick? Because some people say pick one first, after we should move to the next, after we should move to the next. How do I select the one to pick?
All right.
He asked
Is
the
that
first
all?
question, like, how do we retrace step back for those of us who have missed out some things, like you said, building.
How do you replace your step?
Then the second one is that how do we get mentorship, like in building a career?
How to act? No. Disadvantages. You were talking about disadvantages in our country. Start with you. Start with your environment. That's how we get it right. You do your part and just look away. You're going to get teased. You're going to get harassed for it. Just do your part and move on and keep at it. Keep your eyes on the goal. Finish.
Good. Next
The rest,
question.
leave it. Pride and so I have a question, a check question for pride. Yeah. You, your, why do you want to control your self-worth? Your self-worth should grow. If your worth, if your value, it should grow. But if you think it is becoming pride or your ego is becoming too big, then you check your actions with, am I doing this to show off or to add value?
Good.
I've not answered your question. Okay. All right. Then you said finding
But very
balance.
quickly, I'm sorry to add to that. Scan your environment very well and check yourself. When I went, okay, and I'm a victim of this. When I went to Kefi after a career as a director in public service, I knew I was going to have challenges because of the kind of car I drive, the way I dress. So without even saying a word, even if I am walking like this, people are already intimidated. So I consciously humble myself. Not only am I humble, I will go out of my way to show you that I am humble. I will come to your office, you're my junior, to greet you. That way I've been able to manage people. So I just wanted to add that bit. Next question
Thanks,
and
sir.
answer, please.
For the other part of balance, you did not point at what you were asking about. So I'm going to just leave it there. Okay. Sam, maybe if you share my email address later, then you can ask privately if you prefer. Then
Fine.
streamline. Okay.
Okay, fine.
Okay. Then for you, you're doing so many things. Identify four. The four that that if you don't do them, you will be feeling sick. Start with those ones.
That's it.
And streamline. When you are doing so much, your resources are spread. A father with 18 children will not father like a father with 3 children. Simple. So your resources are spread out. You won't make impact everywhere. So limit it to those ones for now. Grow them, and then it doesn't mean that you can't gain experience in the rest over time.
They didn't say you should make it only one. Oh, that's not what they said. Oh,
I said four.
just select those that you can manage.
Yes.
Excellent.
And
Okay.
Okay. And then
One
finally,
more.
for mentorship, LinkedIn is a very good place. And that's why, like Gabriel said, you have to build your profile. And clean up your social media. You can't be retweeting nonsense. It's the truth. You have to be very careful. Because I know I'm a psychologist and some people take my word as the law concerning their mental health. I don't retweet things on politics. I don't retweet things on some religious things. Why? Because I know that people take my word as law. Not everybody, but people who think that this is an authority in mental health. They take everything I say seriously. So there are some jokes I can't even share on social media. So clean up your social media profiles and check for people who look like they're doing what you want and contact them. They will
Rule
guide
of
you
the
better.
thumb: if it's not adding positive value, forget it. Don't pursue clout.
If it's
Clout will
controversial,
pursue you at the right time.
Okay, I think she's basically answered what I wanted
Yes,
for multitasking.
okay. Any
But
other
then
thing? 30
you
seconds.
should know where to draw your lines, strike a balance in whatever you're doing. And for mentorship, there are people out there, like you said, on LinkedIn, and there are people who you see that can mentor you on so many things. The thing about mentorship is, as a mentee, right, you have to be ready to be mentored. It's a problem that we have. You think your mentor is supposed to follow you. You're supposed to give account of what you're doing so far. Oh, I woke up this morning, I had a training on so. Find opportunities and give update to who is mentoring you so that he knows that at least there's something that I need to guide you on. But if you're just, relax and waiting until when your mentor will ask you, okay, so what have you done so far? It doesn't work that way because there are so many people who probably that person is mentoring, not just you.
And very quickly.
Yeah.
Okay. Any more thing?
Yeah, so I just wanted to say that like I said about possibilities, there's something that maybe if you can quickly Google your phone, right, and just check on dark Africa. It's something that was on the page of The Economist some years ago. It's dark Africa. When you say dark Africa, is like we're talking about electricity in Africa that we don't have. Okay, then years later, the same economists came up with Rising Africa. So it's to you now, talking about, how it is in the developed world and how, we're being brought up here. I would say I was brought up in Nigeria. I was born in Nigeria, brought up in Nigeria, but I was raised differently. I cannot compare the way I was raised with other people from my own community, right? That's because my parents probably have that orientation to raise me in the way that supposedly is right. That they could give you options of what you want. What do you want? Do you want to go to school? Do you want to do a trade? Do you want to skip 100 level and start from like, I had that option. Okay, so my son, I have a 15-year-old who said to me, Mommy, I don't want to go, I don't want to start just one. He wasn't even looking at his age, he's 15. But he has a lot. He's done upholstery, he has done tailoring, he has all the skills. And he says to me, I don't want to start first term. Can I go in second term? I know I can make it when I go to second term. And I said, okay, don't you think you will miss? You say, I will check online for the courses that we're doing already, so for the subjects that we're doing already. And I said, fine. What do you want to do? He said he wants to do painting and drawing. So can we get an arts studio so that you would do that training? Ordinarily, Nigerian. King is 3 years old and I homeschool him, and people say, why do you homeschool him? Well, don't you think that he's going to be
antisocial, but he's the most social kid, right? When we go anywhere, he's the one that goes to introduce himself to people and start to talk to people. So if your environment, it starts with you. What change do you want in your environment? What change do you want? What value do you want to add to your community? Then it starts from that community, and then someone sees the value you're adding, and he's doing the same thing, and it passes to the next person. I think that's how to make change. Right?
So if you don't have the advantage of having that kind of parent, you do it yourself. Period.
So we do it. That's what we
So
do.
a lot of NGOs do it.
To primary schools, to universities.
So you can, there's what we call sphere of influence. If you start thinking of the problems of the world, even if you go to America, I was in New York for the UN General Assembly last month, right? The number of homeless people on the streets in Manhattan, you will be depressed. So don't even go there. Start with your environment. Start with what you can influence. So, excellent.
Inspire people around you. That's just it. Focus on your own 5 Fs. Focus on improving your church. Focus on improving your environment, your network, your family members. That's the most important. So when every other person do that, the world is a better place. Okay, so on doing too much, yeah, I agree with them. Look at people, for example, someone like Apororo, you know him now, he's a comedian. He also sings, right? But he built that comedy first. It was when we know him that he's a very good comedian, when he was really become an expert and professional in one. Now use that one to draw his music talent out. You understand? So make sure you become something very, very good somewhere. Use your energy, mop up your energy to become great in something very peculiar. Maybe one or two areas are similar. Maybe okay, music now, music production and music or music writing, they are similar. Put them together first. When you're not successful in that, every other thing you want to do, start pulling them up. I think that helps too. Mentorship, good. There are people in church that you can walk up to. It's not compulsory. A mentorship program is structured. I think that's the problem we always think. We think mentorship is structured. Sometimes you have people like a lot of people that have inspired me. That it's YouTube that I used to get. A lot of things I say here is just YouTube. Follow the right people on YouTube. Follow the right podcast. And podcasts I don't miss every week. I follow them very well so that you're able to learn. You have some of these analogies in your mind. When things are going wrong, you have something to hold on to. So know that mentorship is not compulsory. You have to sit down, do this, do that. No. That people can just walk up to, learn one or two from them, have role models that you read their posts, all those things, subscribe, put notification on things that really matter to you. So I think that helps. YouTube is good. LinkedIn is also very good. And also, know that it's a relationship. It should be mutual. Ask them what they want to get to. It's not supposed. You can't be a parasite to someone. Can you help them to do their slides? Can you help them to develop
Sorry
something?
to bump in, Gabriel. I need to say this. The best way is offer service. Simple.
Yeah, servitude is the key to everything. And then knowing that you have to delay gratification at the early career stage a lot.
Okay, thank you very much. And finally, and that's the end. No more questions.
Okay, yes.
Okay, can I quickly speak to that? Please, so that sharp. You can start all over again. I spent two sessions in Unilag. They said I must do my MPhil PhD. I spent 2 sessions. They gave me a supervisor, Dr. Shote, who eventually became a professor. He did not have time for me. I did everything to get another supervisor. They refused. So the 3rd year, I went to Ibadan and started all over again for my PhD. And guess what? It took me 9 years to get my PhD from UI. That is the gospel truth. 3 years into the program in UI, I had been transferred from Lagos to Benin. It was more difficult to be coming to Benin. And then at some point, it was like this thing, look, why do I need the PhD anyway? I have 2 masters already. So I wanted to stop, but I was encouraged. It took 9 years, and that 9 years, the last time I checked, that thing that I thought was never going to come is now over 10 years. So you can start all over again. My mother married with primary 7 certificate. Her husband died after 6 children. She went back to school. The day I was doing my convocation in Unijobs for MSc, she was doing convocation for HND in home economics at ABU and retired on level 14. So much for somebody who already had 6 children and whose husband died and who was ill for like 2-3 years. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
So
It's workable.
you might actually start again and overtake some people who started a long
Okay, so
time
I'm
ago.
excited about this period, this season that we're in, especially from the COVID lockdown and all that. There are so many opportunities that emerged from the COVID to this period. There are people who are giving free online training. You can do a degree free without paying any money. You can do several courses, trainings, workshops. There are so many. They are, just like he said, they are so enormous. You can decide to do a degree in how many years within a short period of time, and you have so many certificates. And those certificates are valid. You're being given international certificates from very big companies, recognized, organizations, that when you go out there, people will rush you. Now they're going to rush you. Nobody you go rush them, right? And apart from that, earlier we spoke about my life. My entire life was about volunteering. From when I had a job, my 9 to 5, to when I left to this moment. If there's any volunteering job, I jump at it because I just love being selfless. When you find yourself doing volunteering job, you'll be the best leader ever because you're able to do things without having anybody pay you anything for doing it. Okay, so it means that you're ready to do anything that comes that is legit or that would add value. That is what's most important, that you're able to add value to whatever you're doing. So if you are looking for opportunities out there, especially for students, from the period of the ASU strike, we're able to, put students to do several trainings, pick up jobs, because we're looking at the 17 SDGs. So like from 1 to 17, when you look at your community and do like a
do you
need,
guys know about the SDGs?
a need assessment.
Excellent.
Okay, and do like a need assessment. There is definitely one thing in your community that needs an attention, that needs somebody to solve. There's a problem in that community that needs somebody to solve it. Could it be you? I mean, instead of just sitting in your room and just pressing your phone and checking status and viewing all of the unnecessary things, could you just look around your community? It might not be too much for you. If you think that is too much, can you share with someone and say, oh, I noticed that a lot of people in my community are doing drugs. Can we bring mental health experts to come and do like an awareness in our community? Or like people to reach out to those drug addicts, right? You notice that there are children in your community who are not going to school. Can you start up a program for them?
So my question
Calling
to you,
your friends?
sorry, my question to you, how do I do this when I'm struggling, when I don't have enough food?
Okay, yeah, so
I'm
today,
a young person,
yeah.
so you are telling me I should go and be volunteering. They are not going to pay me. I don't get transport money. So please go ahead.
Okay, like I said, if you notice, I said something. I said in your immediate community, so it might be your next door. Okay, I have one of our fellows, Victor Bello. You can Google him. He's doing Almajiri education. He lives in the northern part of Jos, like the Jos North community, where there are so many Almajiris, right? And he decided to start up a project for them. He started this without a dime. In fact, the day he started, he didn't even have food in his house to eat with his siblings. He came to look for food, but he's looking for what to elevate people who are begging for food on the street. So is there anything that you can actually not do? There are so many things you can even start without a dime. You can start washing clothes in your community without 1 naira. You can start comedy show in your community without 1 naira, and that community maybe is a sad community, and you decide to be that volunteer that wants to start doing comedy, volunteer comedy, and you just make people in your community laugh. Before you know, you don't reach stage. You don't see person who go find your talents. There are so many opportunities. Okay, it might look to you like, oh, this thing, but Victor Bello today has people who are supporting what he's doing. And Almajiri education, the children now have uniforms, they have books, they have classrooms where they are volunteers who are coming to teach, right? So is there anything in your community that you cannot add value to? Do you want to continue to be burdened because you don't have food in your community, or you don't have transport to go somewhere? Then you'll be a burden to that community. There are 3 things that I have learned in
Very
this
quickly.
life. Yeah, quickly.
Number
yeah.
one.
Number one, there are 3 people rather in this life, right? Those who watch and see things happen.
Yes.
those who want to make things happen, and those who are wondering how it's happening. Who do you want to be?
Okay, just to
Very
add
quickly,
very, very
go
quickly.
ahead.
So, in support of what you said, anything that's happening around is an opportunity, right? Let me give you an example. During that NSAS, you can't believe that there are lots of organizations that have tapped into that NSAS and they are getting a lot of grants. I'm not joking. I'm not even joking. Like, for example, where I work now, we work with some grantees. So there are some that what they do is that they work with people that have been brutalized. That's what they are using that grant they get for. There are some that they are using social media to continue the NSAS project on their social media handles. And they have a lot of grants. I'm talking about 80,000 upwards in this Abuja. You understand? Then the flooding that is happening now, there's some organizations already tapping into it. They're using it to be a case study and brief to get grants into Nigeria now as we speak. Climate change and all those issues, people are already using it
Two
to get
things I
grants.
want to quickly say, because there's a question that's unanswered.
Yeah.
But before I say that, one thing I want to add to what they just said. Are you always like this? Or you are? I can tell you, sir, I can tell you, man. Once you have the mind to do like this, see, nobody you go do like this. I am telling you, by the time you start teaching your neighbor's children free extramural and they begin to do well, they will start giving you, one day they will say, okay, by the way, you are a graduate, what's up with you? You didn't start it because that's what you are targeting. You see, there's a difference. If you don't have a genuine mind, don't go and do something you're not passionate about. Identify what you love to do. Because even if you are doing it and suffering for today, you do not mind. That is where to start from. That is where to start from. And start with your immediate. And start with what is in my hand. What do I know? I can teach maths. In this estate, how can I put a signboard and say, look, free extra? Let me quickly, so please, have a mind to give. Those who teach other students in class always come tops. Those who hoard information, because when you hoard, other people will naturally hoard from you. Look, see Gabriel here. Now, you may not remember. I'll just tell you something. I will always call Gabriel. I want this. Look, Gabriel, look quickly. I have this research paper. Summarize it for me. Okay? And what has happened? Sometimes I put his name. And so if you Google, you'll definitely see one article online where you see AlHassan EO and you'll see okay G. Definitely. Same thing with Bumi. Bumi is not here. Okay? Because they are willing. Bumi walked up to me. He was my master's student. He walked up. In class one day, I say, anybody interested in research, raise your hand. Only 3 raised their hands. 2 came. 1 ran away. Bumi kept coming even when I was busy. And so I started giving him work to do. If you Google AlHassan, okay? If you Google Emmanuel AlHassan, you will see some of the things I have written. Research work. That is work. Not just that I will sit down and sweat in the night. But you also see Bumi, because he volunteered, because he was ready to do my analysis free for me some nights, free of charge. And so these days, when I have something, the other day I gave him something to summarize. I said, Bumi, how are you doing? Even though he has changed jobs now. And I just WhatsApped 10K, say, okay, buy Vaseline to grease your, you get my point. And if I have an opportunity where Bumi can make 300K, he will be the first I'll call. Gabriel will be the first I'll call. Because when I needed help, they have been there. And then one day, Gabriel comes to my house. Again, I gave him an assignment. He did a research in Abuja, University of Abuja. Remember, we've not published it. I need to push it out very soon. He comes, and then when he was about to leave, he said, sir, there's one conference, Global Health. You were the one that told me about the conference. And for even telling me, I gave you one paper to write an abstract. Yeah. Remember, you wrote an abstract. And I wrote an abstract. One of our abstracts was accepted. And an organization funded me to go to Singapore Based on the information, the day you gave me that information, it was about a week to deadline, or 48 hours to the deadline. Oh, they shifted it. So you need to be able to give, give, give. Then you will get. If you don't make it, it's a principle. When Bill Gates wanted to do, he asked himself, look, computers cost a fortune. It was IBM that time that used to do these very big computers, and only the rich could afford it. Bill Gates asked himself, how can I make this computer affordable for every family in America? That was the start of his journey. So he started with a mindset of what he can do to alleviate or to provide a solution. You must be a solution provider. It doesn't matter whether it is, oh, there's no kiosk here. So people have to trek from here to Taco to buy food. And there are many people living here. How can I make it easier for them? What are the things they will need? You see, that is a noble intention. It will start fetching you money sooner or later. Now, to the question of, so what do? I already told you a story. I was in Port Harcourt. I served in a bank. And I wanted to be a banker. And there were all these oil and gas companies in Port Harcourt. But I didn't get that. And I got this opportunity to teach. So I came and did that, but I still had my goals. So everything I was doing while teaching, everything I was doing while going back to school was focused on that thing that I still want. So I may not get it today. I may not get it next year. But I am still on my journey to where I am going, and I am never giving up. So yes, I love to do. See, let me tell you, I'm in my third or fourth career. Yes, I was a teacher, right? Went back to school. That bank that I wanted, I eventually worked in a bank. From the bank, I now went to oil and gas, the same oil and gas that I had wanted in Port Harcourt. And then I got an opportunity to come to Abuja, left a regional manager work with O&O. Oh yes, to come and be an embedded consultant with a committee in the federal government. Everybody thought I was mad. But I prayed, I fasted about it, and I asked myself, I am 30 so now. When I'm 45, where do I want to be? And one of the answers that I said, look, you've always wanted that at a certain age, you wouldn't be going to the office every morning. So why not take this job that will give you an opportunity to learn how to consult, will give you exposure to the World Bank, to USAID, to DFID, because USAID funded that position for many years. That was how I left a job that is a show, that a steady and stable job. That was how I left my comfort zone and packed my bag and baggage, left my family in Lagos, and came to Abuja. And every year, the chairman of the committee had to sign that, the work this man did between January and December is okay. Please, USAID renew his contract. So every year, I had to work hard for my contract to be renewed. What was the pressure that they gave? That was pressure that I must perform. Because if I don't perform, I will not get my contract signed next year. But it gave me an opportunity to now explore, to meet many people, to learn about the USAID way of working, to learn about the DFID way of working. And trust me, after I left that organization, eventually the organization became an agency. I now became a public servant again. And my salary dropped from whatever to civil service work. And I gave myself time. And then a few years ago, I decided I've always wanted to be a professor. So I started teaching for free. 2 years after, there was an opportunity, and I was given senior lecturer at the Nasarawa State University in Kefi, of all places. when I told the DG I was leaving, a full-fledged director with a jeep and a driver attached to me, and I was going to drop the jeep. Now, what am I saying? You should have your views, your goals, and there are seasons and times in life. And look, there is a time you are 20. There's a time you'll be 30. So while you are 20 and enjoying the things of 20, 21, 22, think about 30. And you start thinking about, when do I need to start raising a family? And how am I preparing myself from now, before that time, so that when the time comes, I'm able to take care of my family. And after that, what is the next stage? So by the time I was a certain age, I had already passed my deadline for leaving that comfortable job. And the time came and I left. But the point is, lay the foundation. Lay the foundation. Do what you have to do now. Save regularly. So that when you now decide, look, I now want to add one more thing. I want to take the chance. I have a little of a buffer that will tide me over. Okay? So that is the response to that. Thank you very much. I'm so sorry, Pastor KG. We are way over time. And let me hand over to you. Please help me appreciate.
Can we appreciate the team members?